Now, we know already that our corporate strategy should drive our operation strategy. And now our operation strategy should drive our process strategy. The process strategy is essentially how the work is done. So, whether we're making a product or providing a service, is the actual doing of the work, the process of transforming inputs into outputs. Specifically, when we think about process strategy, we have to consider both physical layouts as well as the actual kind of operations or doing of task. So physical layouts are things like, where your employee is going to be, where our customer is going to stand, how many people can I fit in a particular space. There's actual layout considerations. Whereas the operations portion is how the work is done by employees, and how you allocate both their time and resources to make sure you're as efficient and effective as possible. So, when we're specifically in a service environment, we have to think about how much physical contact our customers actually have with us. For example, if I am designing a bank, I have to think about if the customer is going to be walking into the bank. That means I need a lobby. It means I need a reception or a place for a waiting line to form to see the next available teller. It means I need aesthetically the lobby to look nice. I need the bank to be perceived as professional. So I need to design that accordingly. Whereas if I'm designing a purely online bank, then really I just need capabilities in the website and digital products and customer service leg. And it can be designed for efficiency. It doesn't have to be designed for a physical layout, more of a digital layout. So we have to design it accordingly based on our contact with customers. We also have to know like what level of attention is expected. So, for example, if I'm at a bank, I have unique needs. I have an individual account. Someone's going to have to look that up for me. All of those are very unique needs. Whereas if I'm in a broader setting, let's say I'm taking a class from an instructor, they may not need to make things unique to me, but they have broader service expectations. So you have to design based on the level of attention your customer expects as well. We can use this customer contact matrix to help us along with our process strategy, specifically in services. If I am expecting high levels of customer interaction, that means I need to design for flexible flows, individualized processes, and processes that are customer facing. So I need to consider both the customer service element, and also how the physical environment can be perceived. Those are considered front office processes. The other extreme is a back office process, which is also a service, but the customer isn't directly physically involved, and may have low interaction. So this is like processing of paperwork, IT services behind the scenes, cellular services behind the scenes. So it's low interaction with customers and standardized services. I can have line flows that are focused on efficiency here. So back office processes can be focused on efficiency, while front office processes can be focused on service and interaction with the customers. Now, when we move into manufacturing, we can use this product process matrix to help us understand the optimal process design based on the type of product and volume I am trying to produce. So, if I want very low volume products, these are things like custom cars, custom cakes, custom furniture, custom clothes, very low volume, very customized and flexible, also very expensive per unit. So on a per unit basis, job shop processes are the most expensive option. We can then move into batch processes. These are things like a bakery where I do a batch of cookies or a batch of cupcakes. So I get some level of volume, moderate levels of volume. So I get some cost savings there and bringing down my unit cost. But I still have a lot of transition between product types and different equipments that need to allow for those different product types as well. And then I can move into line processes. And line processes are much higher volumes, way more standardized. So these are traditional manufacturing lines, any of your mass produced consumer goods, and products that you would buy off the shelf at, Walmart or Amazon. Are largely produced using line processes. These bring down the unit costs, so unit costs are cheaper, but it's also more standardized, higher volumes of work. And then the most extreme version of this is a continuous flow process. This is a process or a facility that's really just doing one thing. So think a sugar refinery or an oil refinery, where it's really just the one thing that I do at very high volumes, very high levels of standardization. And this is going to be the lowest relative unit cost in that type of process design. So when we think about process design, we're thinking about, how can I provide value to customers? How can I meet their needs? But also, how can I do it in a cost effective way? Like, how can I get the benefits and the efficiency of highly standardized goods, but also make my customers feel like they're getting maybe something customized or something unique? So let's talk through a few different strategies here. The most expensive option we have is a design to order strategy. Design to order would be something like involving a customer in the actual design process of a product, or let's say a custom build house. Or a custom, clothing item, where they're literally involved in the design phase. That, of course, is the most expensive option. Make to order would be something where you don't make the product until after the customer orders it, and they would have some specifications around what you can offer and what you can't offer in order for you to make to order to them. So they're not involved in the design phase, they're just involved in the make phase. And then you can have assemble to order strategies, which get you a little more standardized components and some cost savings there. Assemble to order are things like I go to Chipotle for lunch and I build my Chipotle bowl based on standardized ingredients that they have available. And that is an assemble to order strategy. And of course, not limited to Chipotle, that's applicable to any system where you have standard pre-made components that can be modularly put together based on a customer's order. Under the assemble to order strategy, there are a few other strategies we can use to help us gain some of the benefits of standardization, but also providing a little bit of customization. The first is postponement. Postponement is when I use a highly standardized product, but I do something customized right at the end, right before the customer receives it. This would be something like I'm going to buy custom T-shirts for my student club or my sports team, and so it's a highly standardized T-shirt, but they do a screen printing right at the end before it's delivered to the customer. That would be postponement. We can also do a strategy called mass customization, which is where I try to gain the benefits of high volume manufacturing, but I change something simple in the process to make customers feel like they have a broader choice. So you see this in this picture here, where you've got a lot of the same shoe. So it's the same equipment, it's the same design, it's the same employees. I just change the color or the fabric, and I'm able to get what feels like unique choices, even though I'm using a highly standardized process. And then our most standardized option is a make to stock strategy. This is anything you buy off the shelf. It was made in advance of demand. So things are on the shelf at Walmart, at Amazon. They are already stocked in inventory and they are just hoping someone will buy it. This is make to stock strategy using mass production. And this is our lowest unit cost strategy. So when we think about linking our process strategy to our overall strategy, we must remember what we learned about corporate strategy and competitive capabilities. So we have to know who we're trying to be as a company. If I am trying to be a low cost competitor, then I need my process strategy to match that. So if I'm trying to be low cost competitive, I'm focusing on large batch line processes or continuous flow processes. I'm trying to be as standardized as possible, and I'm largely going to have make to stock items that keeps me low cost competitive. But if I'm focused on quality or customization or innovation as a priority, those are different strategies. Those could be job shop or small batch. We could have the different design to order, make to order, or assemble to order options as well. So it's important to match your priority with your process strategy as you go along. And then a final thing we need to look at when considering strategy is what level of automation do I need? So I'm looking at buying equipment. Do I need the fancy kind? Do I need the simple kind? I don't want to buy the really expensive robotics unless I actually need them. So when we're looking at equipment decisions, we're thinking about both manufacturing and service environments. In service environments, we're seeing a lot of automation creep in through these various kiosks that you may have seen, or other automated AI driven automations and services. But we also have options in manufacturing related to both fixed and flexible or programmable automation. So, flexible automation is our most expensive option. These are sophisticated robotics. They can be programmed to work autonomously, to do different types of jobs. So, you have, in the upper left hand picture here, you've got, welding robots that can be programmed to do different types of welds. You have Spot from Boston Dynamics that can be programmed to do a wide variety of tasks or monitoring across different industries. But if we don't need the flexibility, we can also invest in what's known as fixed automation. So, fixed automation still provides automation, but it's less expensive relative to flexible because the equipment can only do one thing. For example, a filling machine like you have here, or a labeling machine, or a cutting machine. It just does the one task. That's all it's capable of doing. Right here, you have a Keurig machine. And sure, you could change out the little pods, but ultimately, it's only going to make a cup of coffee. It's not going to be programmable to do anything else. So, hopefully, this helped you understand process strategy and the different types of decisions that go along with that strategy. See you next time.